Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is for anybody who identifies as a visionary or as a dreamer, somebody with lots of plans and ideas, or if you're just a person that is excited about personal development, growing as a person, as a believer, as a parent, whatever it is, then today's video is for you. Today we're talking all about vision boards, and I'm going to walk you through my process, both the process that I use regularly and the process that I teach on how to create a vision board, a short-term vision board to be specific. And so I think it's going to be really powerful and fun. And so if you're at all interested, then just keep watching. So let's talk vision boards. Vision boarding as a whole is not something I've seen done a ton from a faith-based perspective necessarily. And so this is I'm going to show you today my system. Now, a vision board is basically where you take all of the dreams and the things that you're working towards, your dreams, your goals, your plans, those sort of things, and you assign some sort of a visual aspect to each one, and you put it together in this board. And when you look at this board, the point of it is that you look at it and you are reminded of the vision that you've cast for your life and for the direction that you're going. And in theory, you would begin to filter all of your choices through that vision that you've cast, on that board. And these images would trigger that for you. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm working towards this. Oh yeah, I'm working towards that. So oftentimes a vision board is a long-term thing, and you do it like at the beginning of the year or something like that, and it would be very long-term, like I'm going to buy a house. Well, for me, that is a long-term goal. And so for me, I have kind of scaled vision boarding down to a quarterly kind of practice. And so each quarter, I like to create a quarter vision board. And so it's much smaller. I'm going to see those results much faster, and I find it just to be a lot more productive, and I use it and look at it a lot more. And so I'm going to show you how I do that. I need to make sure I've moved my stuff out of the way. But it does start with, I typically do mine in a journal because I also write out verses and affirmations like each day as well. And so I just kind of do all of that in the same book. And then as I'm opening the book every day to do my daily writing, that I'm seeing my vision board. And so that's how I do it. But you could also easily just get a poster board and cut it down to a realistic size, because again, it doesn't need to be huge. You could also use just a notebook, something of that nature. So if you want it out and visible all the time, you're going to want to use a piece of like cardstock or poster board. But if you don't mind it being in a journal, and the journal is something that you will open and look at, I highly recommend a journal. So now I'm going to get my bird's eye view camera pointed down, and we're going to keep going. I'm going to show you how I create a vision board. Real quick, before we move on, I wanted to remind you about a really cool resource that we have available to help anybody that needs just a little bit of help with their daily devotional routine. So if habits and spiritual disciplines are something you struggle with sticking with, if you wished you read your Bible more often, or prayed more often, or praised and worshiped more often, any of those things, then the Daily Devotional Refresher Guide is probably perfect for you. It's a short little guide. It walks you through 3 of our 5 habits that we teach and are super passionate about. They're faith habits. They're simple things like gratitude practice, scripture writing, and praise and worship. And it helps you form a routine that you can stick with long term, because you're really going to enjoy it. And it's going to take you minimal time during busy seasons and busy days. You can do it in as little as 20 minutes. You can actually do it in a little less than that for busy days. We actually have like a 10-minute plan for like when you're just like so stressed, but you still need to get into the Word of God and spend some time with your faith. So if you're interested in that, this is linked in the description down below. You can go sign up and grab your free copy right now. Okay, back to the video. Okay, where to even begin? So it is a different day. After performing my own technology Olympics and getting this set up, my children came home, and so all the footage is unusable with the screams of toddlers needing string cheese and random things. So I'm back another day to try this again. So let's make a vision board together, shall we? So I'll let you know what I'm starting with. And I did want to preface this. Well, first preface, my table is gross looking and stained no matter what I do. It's because I live with toddlers. So I did just clean it. This is just how we live. I share my home with toddlers. Um, Preface number 2 is I assume if you're into vision boarding that like you're kind of into aesthetics and you like to make things look nice and you probably have a creative side and you want to incorporate that somehow. If you're more into a minimalist look, you don't want to do colors and pretty things, you don't care about all of that stuff, you just want like a simple, minimal aesthetic vision board, that's totally fine. You can adapt this to you and to whatever you're into. Okay. So I just wanted to say, like, if you're like, whoa, that's like a lot, totally okay. I'm also going to share the tools that I use, and I'll link like affiliate links down below on Amazon to where like I get my different journaling supplies and things, and you can check that out down there. But again, you can keep it simple. Okay, so I start because I like to have mine in a journal. Also, ignore my nails. They were done yesterday, but again, toddlers, it's been a rough 24 hours. So, anyways, I use a Toll ring bound notebook. So Toll is like TUL. You find this at like Office Depot, Office Max type situation, or on Amazon. I love disc bound because when you open it, you can take pages out, you can move stuff around, and I really love that. So this is where I build my vision board is in a Toll notebook. So step 1, when building a vision board, regardless of what your aesthetic or your style is, you need to have somewhere to start. And so I call these life zones, but basically you want to assign categories that pertain to you and to your life so that you know kind of the different areas that you want to plug in a visual element, and a goal in which you're trying to work towards or you're believing for. So again, I call these zones, and I have 6 of them that I teach in all of my programs, and I highly recommend that you just start with these 6 because I think they cover just about everything. So category 1 is faith, spiritual, Sabbath. So even if you don't really call your spiritual practice faith, well, it's spiritual, whatever. So that's the first category. And so you want to think of it as that's a section of your life. What are your goals in that area? What do you want to see happen in the next 12 weeks? 3 months from now, what would you like to be a little different? Like, what's an actionable step? So you want to be thinking through that as we're going through the zones. So we have, let me see if I can find something to point with that's not my gross fingernails. Let's use this pen. So we have faith, spiritual, and Sabbath. Sabbath is like rest. So 2 is professional financial. So from a professional career standpoint, if you have your own business, it just finances in general, where do you want to be different? Where are you believing to see miracles and things of that nature? Professional, financial. 2, personal and home. That one's kind of self-explanatory. For me, this is usually like home projects, things around the house that I want to see differently, or atmospheres that I want to cultivate within my home, stuff like that. 4th is health and self-care. You could also probably add like physical fitness, because I know some of us separate, like when I think of health, I think of eating healthy, making healthier food choices, but then I also think of like finally calling my neurologist back and rescheduling that appointment and things like that. So we got health, but also physical fitness and self-care, because taking care of yourself is very important and that should be thought through. 5, family relationships. So even if you're not married, you don't have kids in the house right now, whatever it is, you still probably have family and you still probably have relationships that matter to you. And so that's a zone. And then the last one should not be skipped because it's so important. Fun, adventure. Fun is important to plan. Life is so short. You have to plan for fun, for adventure. That's important. It should just be thought through. So those are the 6 categories. I highly recommend you start with those. And then the next thing you're going to do, and I'm going to get vulnerable and show you mine. So first off, step 1, I'm looking at making sure I'm still filming. Step 1, categories or life zones. Highly recommend you start with these 6. I still use these 6. The people who have gone through my programs, as far as I know, still use these 6. So this is a great shortcut. But then you want to go through each one and you just want to start like brainstorming. Like, what do you want to see different in each of these different categories? So this is a little vulnerable for me to show you my stuff, but like in professional financial, we have some debt that I really want to pay down, medical debt, things like that. I have a couple brands that I'm hoping begin to generate some more income for my family. And then I have like even just goals for this channel that you're watching. One long form video each week. So these are sort of my goals in this area. For most of your goals, you want them to be what's called SMART goals, which means you really want them to be measurable. You want like some sort of reward associated. You really want to think through your goals. They shouldn't be vague. It shouldn't be like, well, I need to work out more. It's like, no, I want to join this gym and I want to work out this many times a week and I want to do that for the whole quarter. For the most part, you want them to be very specific. Like, I want to get back on keto and I've lost 40 pounds. I would like to lose 40 more pounds. So things like that. So step 1, write out your categories. Step 2, assign goals. And again, you're thinking about the next 3 months because it's a short-term vision journal. So over the next 3 months from now, what would I like to be different in these areas? And you just want to write all that down. And they can be goals or they can be like affirmational. Like, for example, down here under personal and home, I have we are organized. So is that a specific goal? No, because what does that mean? But it is an affirmation in which I want to continue to declare, no, we are organized because we're a family of 4 with a dog. We live in a motor home. We travel full time. So we are organized. We're going to get there. We're going to keep working towards it. And then I have actual specific ones that will help me actually work towards it, which are a couple projects in my kids' area of our motorhome, which we call their room. So I hope that makes sense. So they can be affirmational, but make sure you also have specifics on how you plan to get there. And that is step 2. So because aesthetic is important to me, I couldn't just leave my goals like this on this paper. So I did move mine over and made them just a little bit cuter. But again, if you're going for a minimalist vibe, it's totally fine. Keep it simple. Stick with that list. But for me, I wanted it to look nice. I want to enjoy opening this up and looking at it. And for me, visually, I like color and pattern and stickers and things like that. So I did go ahead and transfer it down like this. And so again, this is just all of my goals. So to me, this was like a rough draft, like a brainstorm over here. And then I copied over what I really wanted to like stick from the brainstorm. So I encourage yourself, just write down anything that comes to mind and you can always narrow it down. Basically just start with a spread like this, just a blank spread, and then I just like to get something on the page to make it colorful, to make it pretty, to make it inviting. And so I start with washi tape and stickers and things like that, and I just start kind of making the page feel more inviting. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my vision board, and then I'll explain how I got here. So here is my vision board so far. I still need to add some more journaling over here on this page for me to be satisfied with it. But this is basically it. So to show you how I got here, I will go ahead and insert that footage of me working on it, and maybe I can even find music to set to it, and I'll insert that here. If you look, you'll see each of my 6 zones. So up here we have faith and spiritual, Sabbath. Here is professional finance. Here is home and personal. I'm sorry it's bouncy. I'm going to need a new setup, but for right now, it's like, this is what I got. This is what I got. Over here we have health and self-care. Down here we have family and relationships. And over here is fun and adventure. And so I'll just kind of, well, first let me share. So I use washi tapes. Again, I'll link some of the similar things down below if you like this stuff. But I just have a collection of journaling supplies and stickers and planner supplies because that's a personality trait of mine, is to hoard that sort of stuff. So there's that. Then as for the pictures, so what I did was, after looking at each of my goals, I just went onto Pinterest and I just started searching images that related to one of my top goals, or like the vibe, the feeling that I wanted to feel. So this art journal is it reminds me of like my commonplace journal. I write my gratitudes out in a journal. And so I printed out this picture just because it seemed kind of perfect, because it was just really pretty, I like the vibe. It inspires me for saving, or for financial freedom, for finance and professional. There it is. I'm believing for financial freedom, but we're still believing for it. I printed out this one because it's actually like a cash envelope setup, which is the budgeting system that we use. And so I just thought this was a cool aesthetic photo and a reminder that we are saving, we're paying down debt, and that we have like a purpose in all of that. And so I liked that picture. Over here, this is not a motorhome. I found it on Pinterest, of course, but it's not a motorhome, but it looks like the vibe of a motorhome. And I love how organized it is while still being very colorful. And that's kind of our vibe. If you can't tell, our vibe is kind of colorful and maximalist, dopamine-y, while also needing to be organized as well. And so that just inspired me to go with those goals. And so it kind of works with all that. How I printed these out was I print my pictures out with a Canon Ivy. I think it's Canon. Yeah. It's a Canon Ivy. It's a zinc printer. It doesn't take ink. It's very strange. It's like the future of Polaroid, I guess. Polaroid photos. So it just has like special paper in it. I use an app on my phone. I make a collage that has two of these images on one sheet. I think I have a little example because I accidentally double printed. So it just it comes right out of the printer. It looks like this. And then I just cut it in half. And it's sticky on the back. You can peel off the paper and stick it on. So again, I'll link this below because I love it. I use it all the time. I have a reading journal, and on the reading journal, I use the 4 square collage and put all my little covers in my little books and print them out. Every 4 books I read, I print this out and cut it and stick it in my little reading journal. So anyways, I love this thing. I think it's amazing technology. So that's how I print out my photos. But if you don't have that, you could just use a printer. And then I just go around and I write out either affirmational statements, mostly affirmational statements. Sometimes I might do verses, but I don't know, that's just not the vibe that I have right now. So right now it's just kind of more affirmational. So like for thankful, like I love the gratitude is the foundation of joy. I love declarations. I live in a constant state of consistent gratitude. Like, I just really love that. This is one that I wrote down here for our home. Our home overflows with peace and presence, meaning like that peaceful presence of God. And so that's kind of how I do it. I like to have like a declaration, a big affirmation, and then I just journal in. So I haven't done that all on this page yet, but I definitely will. Bedtime snuck up on me last night, so this is how far I made it. But this is how I set up my affirmation journal. And so then the way I use this is I'll just open it every day, every couple days, and I'll begin on this page kind of writing out different affirmations, verses, things that come to mind for each of these different categories. And it's something that I'll check in with often. I'll probably likely, just because I know what I tend to do, I'll probably assign a verse or a biblical affirmation to each one of these different like goals that I have back on my goal sheet here. And I'll probably write them out. I'll try to come up with 10 is usually what I tend to do. So I'll have like 10 little affirmations or declarations or something like that. And I like to just write those out several times a week. That's how I do it. So that's the basic gist of creating a vision board. I do this quarterly. As this quarter begins to draw to a close, I'll start this process all over again with brainstorming how I want the final quarter of the year to go, to look, what I'd like to accomplish, and we'll start the process all over again. And that is how I approach and teach to approach vision boarding. So I hope you enjoyed it. That's basically all that I have today. If you have not subscribed, but you enjoyed this video, would you consider subscribing? We are a newer channel and that does help us out. Also, if you liked it, please like it, because that also is a huge way to let YouTube know that this new channel might actually have some value. So I would very much appreciate it. That's all I have today. If you need some help forming a better routine when it comes to your spiritual disciplines, specifically your daily devotional routine, then I have a free guide that's always linked down in the description below that is all about building habits. It breaks down 3 of our 5 faith habits that we teach that I think are life-changing, and you can grab that completely for free when you click the link and sign up down below. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.